Yan, magandang hapon po teachers 'no, and welcome to our Saturday stream, our Saturday webinar, 4th installment 'no ng ating, September series 'no. And nandito pa rin tayo sa ating, recharge season or recharge series natin 'no for September. Hello Sir Jambi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sir Franco. Ayan. Ang saya talaga
Ayan.
ng ng recharged na series natin. Sana
Oo,
palaging may sana buwan-buwan may recharge na
na session.
episode na session.
Yes, oo.
Ayan.
Parang
Kasi
kailangan
alam mo,
natin yun 'no,
kailangan natin kasi yan, because of our topic today.
Sa totoo lang ano, mas mas as tol bakit, we also decided to give this series for our teachers that, um, although ine-expect natin siyempre 'no, Sir Jamby, mas madali na sana 'tong second year of pandemic, school year natin. Pero the truth is, actually, there's, meron siyang part at dimension na mas mahirap. Example sa mga teachers 'no, parang, exhausted na, ubos na, for ano na second, pandemic school. Kasi last time, Sir Jamby, nadala pa tayo ng ano, ng adrenaline natin, ano yung rush ng adrenaline natin. So we just kept on moving forward and like, crashing into, distance learning. Pero ngayon na mas naka-settle tayo, mas nararamdaman natin minsan yung pagod. And hopefully, no, yan yung sana mas mapag-usapan natin today. Okay? But before we do that, Sir Jambi, let's have greetings no, to our teachers. Okay? And we can start from the start. No? Hindi naman sobrang haba ng ano natin ngayon. Okay? At mukhang kayang-kaya naman natin, Sir Jambi, i-greet na lahat ng mga teachers natin, especially the one that actually entered as early as 12:36 p.m. Nandito na siya kanina
Wow.
pa ano, nag-iintay sa ating session for today. Okay? So let me start off with by greeting Teacher Lamberto Pilatan Jr. From Iloilo. Teacher Angelica Joy Binas or Binas, okay? Pleasant day as well to Teacher Nida Escarlan from San Jose Central School, Tacloban City. And of course, to me, Franco Nicolpiano, to Teacher Laila ni Gamban.
Alam mo
Good
madalas
afternoon.
nandiyan yan, Madalas nanonood yan si Teacher Franco.
Oo, ano yan avid fan yan dito sa KTS. Siyempre, tangkilikin ng sariling atin yan. Teacher Laila ni Gamban, good afternoon. Teacher Charmaine de la Cruz, Teacher Marieta Docusin, and Teacher Peya Lebros, and Teacher Mary Ann Sim. And I'll be ending my part by greeting Teacher Jocelyn. Good afternoon. Watching from Davao. Davao, or is that Davao City, Teacher Jocelyn? Isa sa mga paborito kong mga lugar na napuntahan kaysa nung hindi pa pandemic. Okay. Go ahead, Sir Jambi.
Ayan, magandang hapon din of course kay Teacher Johanna Palay Marzan. Sana na-figure out na niya how to share. Kay Teacher Alrazed Kawanan, watching from Zamboanga City, good afternoon to you as well. Watching from Masbate, good afternoon also to Teacher Rodimar Henyorga. Parang nabubulol ako dun. Sir Fern, good afternoon to you as well. Good afternoon also to Teacher Ellie Austria, Teacher Alex Javier Alvarez, watching from Kidapawan City. Teacher Lilibeth Niebres, good afternoon to you as well. Teacher Angelica Joy Binyas, ayan, virtual hug din sa iyo. Pastor Manny, watching from Imo City, Cavite, of course. Blessed afternoon to you and to all of us. Magandang blessed afternoon sana kayong lahat. Teacher Loida Vargas, watching from CDN SSI San Pedro. Parang natanong ko na to dati tapos di ko na naman tinandaan kung ano ibig sabihin. Teacher John Mark Lupango, magandang hapon din sa inyo. And finally, Teacher Edward D. Awas Jr., watching from San Quintin, Pangasinan. Magandang hapon po.
Magandang hapon, no? To Teacher Let, good afternoon. Teacher Abigail Ramos, Teacher Maan Bacolod, Teacher Rhea Marie Robas, good afternoon. Teacher Rosel K. Bedanes, Teacher Bebs Rolda from CDN MSHS. Meron na rin akong tatanungin, Sir Jumpy.
No, high school yun.
And
Sure, high school yung
sure
dulo.
ako yun. High school yun. Teacher Rosalet Makada, Teacher Arjoax Famulmi, and Teacher Cheche Palabay Pajarito, and of course, Teacher ICT CDN. Shout out from again, CDN MSHS. Teacher Rolinda Borja, teacher APL slideshows. Again, nakalimutan ko na naman yung hindi ko pa alam, no? Hindi pa rin na-confirm ko ano yung real name ni APL slideshows. And Teacher Gemma Rivera, Teacher Rosalyn Rabanzo, Teacher Arian May, and I'll be greeting our usual, always here, Teacher Joseph Odelon Hermetanio.
Correct. Ayan, pwede pa ba, Sir Franco? Pwede pa
Oh,
ba
Sir
akong
Jumpy,
bumati?
last
Kasi
yung sa'yo, last na.
palagay ko bahagi ito sa mga things that keep our teachers motivated and driven. Yung mabanggit man lang, mabati man lang sila. Kaya
Sige.
babatiin natin si Teacher Juela Giriba watching from wherever she is. Teacher Nora Famatigan watching from Lipa City. Good afternoon as well. Great afternoon daw from Teacher Ginalyn Villar watching from Sathya Sai School in Pililla. Dito lang yan sa atin, no? Pililla, Rizal. Teacher Merhel Geronimo. Good afternoon as well to Teacher Phil Jean Shane Tan. Good afternoon po kay Teacher Nerissa Behay. Good afternoon to Teacher Cru Corazon, BR Tamio. Robert Doria watching from Davao City. Hindi pa tayo nabate. Teacher Arnie Joy Dumalag from Masbate City. Hi din kay Teacher Diamond. Hindi ko nababasa. Ume-effort. And sige, last na. Teacher Altman L. Cabardo watching again from Malasiki, Pangasinan. Magandang hapon po. Good afternoon to all of
Magandang
you. Aming mga
hapon. Yes, no.
kaagapan.
Maraming salamat, Sir Jambi, no. At again, teachers, good afternoon to all of you, and thank you for joining us here, no, this afternoon. Alam ko ang teachers natin, again, kakabalik lang, no, sa pagsabak sa ating second pandemic school year, at malamang pagod pa, no, pagal ulit sa start. Usually kasi, Sir Jambi, no, nakakapagod yung start. Lagi yan, yung first week. Sobrang ang daming ginagawa, sobrang daming kailangan i-prepare, pero maraming salamat to our 101 live viewers, no, with us today. Okay? So Sir Jambi, before tayo siguro mag-start, no, with our session for today, let's of course not first talk about, no, our topic for today, and why this is something that we need to talk about. Okay, we need to discuss. Okay, and some disclaimers as well. Alam ko gagawin din to ng mga speakers natin mamaya, pero let me start with our
Baka
first disclaimer.
sisihin kayo ng
Yes.
mga administrators nila.
Yes. So una-una is actually magandang point of view yan, Sir Jambi, kasi one of our speakers for today is actually an administrator. So we're going to get both perspective from the teachers and also from the administrator perspective as well. At syempre isa sa pinaka motivation, no? Speaking of motivation, tsaka driving force, Sir Jambi, ng session na to is that meron ako natanggap na isang message last time, no. Ito yung background, no, why this session was created, no, in our September series. Merong nag-message sa akin isang teacher. And again, Sir Jumbin, ito yung classic example of the many messages and the many kinds of messages I get from our teachers. And in a gist, no, sabi lang ng teacher na nag-message sa akin. Actually, napakahaba nun, chunks of messages sa messenger. Pero ang gist lang nung message is that, Sir Franco, I'm tired. Pagod na ako. Ginawa ko na yung lahat ng kailangan kong gawin, pero parang hindi pa rin nakikita yung efforts ko as a teacher, at ayoko na. At ano, Sir Jambi, no, ang naging reply ko lang sa kanya noon ay hindi ako siya actually nag-respond dun sa ano niya, sa message niya, no, ng other message. Instead, sinabi ko lang, I'm listening. So yun, nagtuloy-tuloy lang siya. Kaya ang haba nung thread na yun. At doon ko lang na-realize din na talagang pagod na yung mga teachers natin. And yun yung sana magawa natin today, mapag-usapan natin tong pagod na to, na pinagdadaanan nating lahat ngayon as teachers. Okay? And how do we go get through it as teachers, no? And siguro, Sir Jambi, no, ang disclaimer na natin is that this session will not offer solutions. It will not end our tiredness perhaps. Hindi tayo basta-basta mawawalan ng pagod. Hindi rin namin masosolusyonan lahat ng problema. Pero what we aim to do today is to create a discussion sa pag-usapan natin. Okay? I'll be also encouraging our teachers to share their insights, to share their and let it be known to everyone that this is a safe space. Let's express our sentiments. Okay? Let's express our tiredness, our exhaustion, at lahat ng mga nararamdaman natin. At let's share to everyone para alam natin that we're not alone at may kadamay tayo. At Sir Jamie, may kaagapay tayo sa mga
Yeah.
pinagdadaanan.
Kasi yun pa lang, Sir Franco, ano na yun? That's a good first step. Yan. Para hindi naman natin tama si Sir Franco, hindi natin alam. I wish we knew kung paano talaga masolusyonan yung ating tiredness, 'di ba? Kung may offer lang natin yung solusyon sa problemang yun, nako, ibebenta na natin tong episode na sa lahat ng sa lahat ng school, sa lahat ng kumpanya, ganun. But no, tama si Sir Franco, pag-usapan lang natin. Ganyan. We're here to listen to you. Yan, yung mga natin, yung mga kaagapay natin sa chat. Yan. Express your, express how tired you are, how demotivated you are to each other. Tayo mismo ang makinig sa isa't isa. Tayo mismo ang magtulungan to keep ourselves motivated and driven.
Pero syempre Sir Jambi, hindi natin ibebenta yun. Ibibigay ulit natin sa mga teachers natin.
Correct. Antayin nyo, baka malaman natin kung anong solusyon.
Oo. Yun, pero anyway, maraming salamat Sir Jamie for clarifying that. So, again, siguro mas, mas mapapag-usapan natin yan through the sharing and siguro ng ating mga speakers for today. We have invited two speakers for today coming from different perspectives. Again, coming from an administrator's perspective at a teacher's perspective. And Sir Jambi, dalawa to sa mga taong talagang tinitingala ako sa school namin. Okay? And both have influenced me in so many ways. And kahit lalo ng isang speaker natin kasi nag-start ako sa Xavier School, nandun na siya. So talagang isa sa mga nakasama ko all throughout also my journey as teacher in our school. Okay? At again, madami ako natutunan dito sa of course sa one of our speakers for today. And okay, ang isa sa ating other speaker which you're going to introduce later, Sir Jambi, ay aking co-administrator before nung maging administrator ako ng Social Science Department ng Xavier School. At ang tawag ko dito ay neighbor. At ma-share ko lang Sir Jambi, siya yung kinokopyahan ko ng mga dapat gawin. Kasi wala akong masyadong alam sa administrative matters. So pag may kailangan akong gawin or may mga reminders, nakikinig ako na mabuti sa karel niya kasi magkatabi kami ng karel. So I get to learn a lot of things from this person. I really admire both of our speakers for today. So let's now introduce our first speaker, Sir Jambi, and welcome our first sharer for this afternoon.
Of course, ayan, as usual mga kaagapay, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our first of two speakers this afternoon. Ang pinakauna po natin is an alumnus of the Ateneo de Manila High School and a graduate of the University of the Philippines. After graduating from college, he worked outside the country for 12 years in Singapore and the United Arab Emirates, handling communications, marketing, and customer relations in the telecommunications and airline industry before entering the field of education. He began his teaching career as an English teacher in Xavier School in 2011, and after 5 years of teaching high school, he was asked to take on the role of English department chair in 2016. He has taken on various leadership roles such as team leader for the Xavier China Experience, editor-in-chief of the Xavier School website, and committee head for various institutional projects. In 2019, he earned his master's degree in education from the Ateneo de Manila University, and in the same school year was awarded the Xavier School Pinot Clifford Educators Award for Outstanding Junior Faculty. Concurrent to his role as department chair, he teaches English language and literature for the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program. Ladies and gentlemen, mga kaagapay, it is our honor to present to you our first speaker, Mr. Paolo Swapenko.
Hello, Sir Franco and Sir Jambi.
Hello, good
Good
afternoon, sir.
afternoon. Hi, good afternoon to all our viewers today. I hope I can be heard clearly. If not, isi-signal na lang ako ni Sir Franco kung medyo hindi okay yung audio ko. So magandang tanghali po sa inyong lahat na nandito ngayon sa session na ito. And I'm very happy to be here to share kung ano man yung mga experiences ko and kung ano man yung mga nalalaman ko. So without further ado, and thank you, Sir Jandy, for the introduction. And without further delay, let me start my sharing for this very important, sometimes controversial topic of rediscovering love for teaching and staying motivated and driven.
Sir Paolo, before tayo mag-start, no, may konting comment lang from the audience. Medyo mahina daw po ang audio niyo. Although we can hear you, but there is a little bit of weakness dun sa sound natin. Can we
Okay,
try again?
I will try
Yun!
to
Okay,
speak
sir.
louder. Is this
Yes, okay
okay?
na, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Go
Okay.
ahead, Sir Paolo, and good luck. Teachers, enjoy. Again, don't forget that our session will end with the evaluation link for your certificates. Okay. So for the meantime, let's enjoy the discussion. Let's engage in the chat. We'll be in the chat while you are listening to Sir Paolo.
Okay. Thank you, Sir Franco. So ang ating topic for today ay rediscovering love for teaching, practical tips on staying motivated and driven. Actually, teachers, sa topic na ito, lalayo pa ba tayo? Kung gusto niyong pag-usapan ng topic na ito, andyan nga naman si Sir Franco. Kasi wala akong kilala ibang mas alam ang topic na to of maintaining love for teaching and keeping driven and motivated. Imagine amid a pandemic, you can see what he and his group have achieved. So if after this talk you still feel lost and you still want to talk about this topic, andyan lang si Sir Franco. And I would say he's actually one of the best people to talk to about this topic. But thank you for inviting me, Sir Franco, and let me begin my sharing for today. Okay, so may mga nabanggit na rin si Sir Franco about some disclaimers, but let me go through my own coverage and disclaimers for my sharing for today. So sana makarelate ang mga teachers of all ages and stages, whether you are new or a junior or a senior teacher or even an administrator. That's what I hope to be able to address in this talk. I will be covering three parang rationales or three theoretical aspects for this talk. And then later on, some what I think would be very practical tips that we can apply when we are in this stage of demotivation or trying to find our way back to loving teaching. The primary content, syempre, ay ang aking mga personal experiences. Pero para hindi naman panay kwento-kwento lang, I'll also be going technical a little bit. I will also talk a little bit about the Ignatian pedagogical paradigm framework, um, which is used for our teaching, but I have found to also be applicable to our personal lives. Nabanggit ito ni Franco kanina, there's no one-time solution, one-size-fits-all solution sa issue na ito. And it's a very highly subjective topic. May mga bagay na maaaring nakaka-demotivate sa isang teacher, pero sa isang teacher, non-issue naman siya. May mga bagay na non-negotiable sa isang teacher, pero sa isang tao ay okay lang naman siya. But I will also talk about how that fits in, that the subjectivity of it fits in when you are going through this kind of phase of demotivation. Okay. Okay, so nung in-invite ako ni Franco to talk about this topic, dahil ako ay isang English teacher, syempre kinailangan ko munang i-break down yung language aspect ng title ng talk para sa assurance ko sa sarili ko na I will address the topic as best as I can. So pasensya na kung hindi kayo English teacher, but that's my way of preparing for talks or for my teaching. So I broke down some words from this title and zoomed in on two important words: rediscovering and staying. So sa lengguwahe, ang rediscovering ay gusto mong mahanap muli, if we translate it, and staying ay pananatili. So dun magiging springboard ang aking sharing for today. The rediscovering aspect and the staying aspect of it. If we break down the meaning of rediscovering or to rediscover, ibig sabihin it was there before. Ibig sabihin you had it. Because if you want to rediscover something, the word re means ando na siya before, pero baka nawala lang, you may have lost it, pero you are at that state where you want to rediscover it. Yung staying naman, yung ibig sabihin ng salitang stay ay pananatili nga, ibig sabihin andun ka na. Pero baka napapagod ka lang or may uncertainty na nangyayari sa buhay mo. But if you want to stay, it means you are still there. Okay. So, yun lang yung mga meanings na gusto kong i-break down para magkaroon ng mas may direction yung aking sharing for today. Uh, the first point I want to stress about this topic is you have to have the desire. So, kung ang topic natin ay rediscovering love for teaching, staying motivated, staying driven, hindi magwo-work ang kahit na anong tips ko or kahit na makipag-usap kayo kay Sir Jambi or kay Sir Franco, kahit na mag-counseling pa kayo, if the desire is not there. Kung ano man yung mga ibigay na tips, instructions, directions, if your desire to rediscover the love for teaching or to stay motivated and driven is not there, nothing will work. So you have to have the desire first. I think yun yung unang-unang kailangan yung pag-isipan. Andun pa nga ba yung yearning, yung desire. Now, what I want to say next is, sa mga bisita natin ngayon, maraming salamat sa pagdalo. And I just want to say na dahil nandito kayo ngayon, you have already covered the first point. The fact that you are here today means you still have the desire and you want to rediscover it. The fact that you are here today, listening to this topic, listening to this sharer na hindi nyo namang kilala, it means you still haven't given up. So please pat yourselves on the back, give yourselves a self-hug. It means you still find teaching something important, kaya you want to rediscover and stay motivated and driven. Yun. So that's my first point. Yun. So you have to want to rediscover love for teaching, and you have to want to stay motivated and driven. Kasi kung ganun nga ang kaso, ibig sabihin you can do something about it. Because if you don't want to rediscover or you don't want to stay, ibig sabihin walang mangyayari. You will always see things in a negative lens na kahit na ang daming magagandang nangyari na may motivate you, dahil you don't want to see the good side of it, walang mangyayari. So yun. Ngayon, kung may acceptance kayo or acknowledgement na oo, gusto ko pa rin mahalin ang pagtuturo or manatili sa pagiging motivated and driven, then we can start the process. The process will start with thinking about the root or the roots of the problem. Ano yung mga bagay-bagay na nagdi-demotivate sa inyo, na naglilihis sa inyo sa daan ng pagmamahal sa pagtuturo. Okay, so what makes you lose what you once had, and what causes you to become tired and uncertain? So it will be a journey inward. Sabi ko nga kanina, it's not a one-time solution. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. Kailangan mong mag-introspection, kailangan mong mag-journey inward. Para malaman mo kung ano yung mga pwede mong gawin, what you can do to help yourself. Now, just so it's not just my perspective, kasi I listed down some factors that may cause demotivation or lack of drive. But I also want to see kung saan kayo nanggagaling. So if I may request our audience to kindly go to menti.com and then enter this code that you see on the screen. You will just be asked to enter two words that you think causes you to be demotivated or to lose your drive. I think Sir Franco will also send the link via the comments. Yung direct link na if you click that link, it will bring you to the page where it asks you for the words. And then while you are doing that, let me shift screen to another to the other page where it will show your answers. Okay, so let me present what meron ng dalawang sumagot. Stress and tired. Overwork. Sige, siguro we'll spend a couple of minutes waiting for answers to come in before I proceed. Or baka yan na yun. Yung tatlo na yun. The system. Oh wow, that's a very profound answer. The system. Less support. Overwhelming workload. Overwork. Too many meetings. Naku, nakaka-relate ako dyan, teachers. Maya't maya may meeting. Parang mas nakakapagod pa nga yung online distance, di ba? Dahil maya't maya may meeting. Whereas before, di ba, punta ka lang sa kapitbahay mo. Yan nga si Sir Franco, di ba? Kapitbahay ko lang. Bibisita lang ako sa karel niya. Emotional stress, physical stress, extra workload, lack of time, overwhelming expectations, changing assignments. Okay. Sige. Too many. Okay. Pandemic. Okay. Pandemic. Very actually that's in one of my examples also. Less support. Eh na dumadami na yung mga sagot. So siguro just one more minute to allow answers to come in. So you also can see what your other co-teachers are labeling as their stressors or demotivators. Paperwork. um, Too many. Okay. Okay. So, pero parang yung pinakamalaki so far is yung stress, 'di ba? Okay. Unappreciated. I actually also use that as one of my examples. Restless. Okay. Okay. So actually, cheers, if you wish, you can continue to answer this question to provide your take on what causes one to become demotivated or to lose drive. And then maybe I can just send a screenshot later on pag natapos na and then send it to Sir Franco. And if he wants to share it to you guys, then he can do that. So while you're still answering that, and thank you very much sa ating mga panauhin na sumagot, let me go back to my presentation. Okay, so once again, thank you to those who answered. I will also visit it again later on. Okay, so uh, what I would like to label the answers that you gave and the examples I am giving now as demotivators or kung Harry Potter fan kayo, I'm sure madaming Harry Potter fans dyan, I label them as dementors. Kasi diba if you remember the movie, it sucks the life and the light out of you, which is a very symbolic and a very physical manifestation of someone who is losing their drive or their motivation or their love for teaching. So I just want to create this analogy of these factors as demotivators or the dementors. So some of the things I thought about in my own experience and in my experience as an administrator and teacher are these that you see on the screen. And you will notice that some of them are similar to the ones you have shared. So unappreciated or unheard, can't cope with workload or demands, tired, burnout, stress. The compensation aspect is also there. It's a real, it's an honest concern, being misunderstood. Yung conflicts can be with colleagues, with co-teachers, even with students and parents. And from an administrator's point of view, conflict with their teachers. It's not always a pretty picture. Minsan talaga nagkaka-conflict between an administrator and a teacher. Constantly adjusting, no movement or promotion. And as one of you mentioned in the Mentimeter word cloud, the pandemic. So these are just some demotivators that affect our drive, our motivation, our love for teaching. Uh, if I were to try to label to do a thematic, once again being an English teacher, I thought of a thematic or a collective meaning behind all of these demotivators. And parang ang nangibabaw is yung feeling ng helplessness. Siyempre, these are my specific concerns that you listed down and I have listed down. Pero if we try to analyze them thematically, parang may feeling of helplessness. Yung wala kang magawa, nababurn out ka na pero wala kang magawa. Kaaway mo yung boss mo pero wala kang magawa. May pandemya, anong magagawa ko? Hindi na tumataas yung sweldo or nag-pay cut kami, anong magagawa ko? So it's that aspect of helplessness that I think debilitates us, paralyzes us, or makes us feel demotivated. Now, how do we address? Now, that's what I want to also focus on. Dahil nga feeling helpless ka sa mga nangyayari. Gaya nga ng example ni Sir Franco kanina, the teacher shared na, I'm just really tired. Anong magagawa natin doon? So, gaya nga nung nasabi ko kanina, you have to have the desire first to want to rediscover love for teaching, and you have to want to stay motivated and driven. So going back to my analogy of Harry Potter and the Dementor, if you recall in that movie and in that book, may Patronus, and then that Patronus spell that uses the light within you to defeat the Dementors. So, syempre parang ang ganda pakinggan, di ba? Oh, Harry Potter, ganyan. But it's very theoretical, it's very fictional. How do we apply that in our lives practically? But I just wanted to give you that analogy of that helplessness, the Dementors, and what we can do to let our patronuses, our desire to love teaching and to stay motivated and driven shine. Okay. I go to my second point. If you are in this state or situation of being demotivated and losing love for teaching, after you know that you have the desire to love teaching again and to be motivated and driven, the next point is you have to know yourself. Gaya nga ng sabi ko kanina, it's subjective. It can be different for different people. So, in order to address that situation, you have to know yourself. Huwag kang magpapa-apekto sa mga nagdi-demotivate sa mga tao. And although it's a real thing, di ba? Pag nakikita mo yung kasamahan mo na demotivated, parang nahahawa ka. Sabi nga nila, di ba, misery loves company. But try to segregate. Okay, yan ang issues mo, yan ang issues ng kaibigan ko, ito ang issues ko. And that's what I will work on. So you have to know yourself. That's where personal context comes in. I'll talk more about context later on when I talk about the IPP framework. Pero don't worry, teachers, hindi siya masyadong academic. Okay, so the second point is to know yourself. If you know yourself, you will know your dementors. So gaya ng ginawa nyo kanina, if you actually want, list them down. Ano yung mga nagdi-demotivate sa inyo? And it will be different for you. For me, some will be the same. But you have to know yourself and what demotivates you. So more often than not, these demotivators are external. Madalas wala naman tayong masyadong magagawa about them. So anong gagawin natin? Do we just give up? And wala, external factor yan eh. Hindi nagtataas yung school ng sweldo eh. Kaaway ko parati yung boss ko eh. So do we just leave it at that because they are external factors? My say is no. There is something you still can do, and yun nga, it starts with the process of knowing yourself. And then when you know yourself and you have listed down your demotivators, then you can start working on your specific action plan, your specific steps para ma-address yung external factors. I'll go very quickly on what I listed as possible workarounds, solutions. I say possible kasi hindi nga, baka hindi nag-work sa iba or sometimes it's not that easy. But just because something is not that easy doesn't mean you should just give up right away. Um, there are always other ways. So some of the things I listed down is if you're unappreciated or unheard, if you think that the school doesn't appreciate you, then appreciate yourself. If you appreciate yourself, that will boost your self confidence, self esteem, and then that can lead to many other effects. Um, find workload or work demands. Maybe there are other ways to work more smartly. Find alternatives. Tired, burnout, stress, have purposeful rests, set specific time, non-negotiable time for me time, for resting time, for recuperating, recharging. Compensation, we can't really do much about it, but find what is worth staying for. And I want to linger here a little bit. I don't Personally, honestly, I don't think there is any teacher who entered the teaching profession because they wanted to get rich. I may be wrong, but that is my perspective of teachers because we are doing a very noble job. It's a vocation. And when we enter into teaching, alam natin at the onset, hindi tayo yayaman sa trabahong ito. So maybe because of factors nga affecting us, it suddenly becomes an issue. So maybe it would be good to rediscover nga what is worth staying for and be careful of blinders. Dahil baka nagkakaroon nga tayo ng negative lens, kahit na ang dami ng magagandang nangyayari, we still view them in a negative light. Yung nakakaroon na tayo ng blinders, we fail to see the good in what's happening and why we are still here even though it's not a very lucrative job. Being misunderstood, I can't think of any other way to address it than to communicate. Sometimes it's hard, especially if you're an introvert or if you're not used to, if you prefer to keep things private, but there's no other way around it. You really have to communicate. You have to go outside of your shell sometimes, reach out, communicate. Conflicts, kung ma-resolve yung conflicts, well and good. If it's an unresolvable conflict na talagang you've already tried, then that's it. As long as you've tried, then you can just focus on your good relationships, your good friendships. Surround yourself with the people who support you. Constantly adjusting, so it can be interpreted in a very broad way. Pero naisip ko dito, kunyari, a lot of our teachers got stressed because they had to suddenly learn so many things in online distance learning technology, yung Mentimeter na ginawa ko kanina, bagong-bago pa yan noon, pero ngayon, ano na lang yan, napakadali na lang for us. So maybe, if you're constantly having to adjust things, maybe you need to learn new skill sets when it comes to technology, when it comes to organizing, when it comes to communicating. Um, One of the ways that you can equip yourself better to cope with constantly adjusting is to improve yourself. And then no movement or promotion, very similar to compensation, pero of a different angle. Maybe you can seek ways to upscale yourself and upsell yourself. Attend seminars. Uh, if you can, maybe pursue further studies, get certifications para mas may bala ka na when I don't know if I don't know the system of other schools when it comes to promotions, but for some schools, you are rated, and then you have to sell yourself when you rate yourself. So if mas marami kang bala, then mas malaki yung chance, and then at least you are having a more proactive stance on the matter rather than just hindi ako na promote wala movement, and then just not do anything about it. The pandemic, we really can't do much except what you can. So let me repeat that. All you have to do is what you can. It can be as simple as following the protocols of DOH and the government. Stay at home. That's enough. Get yourself vaccinated. That's enough. Take care of your health. That's enough. I know the pandemic can be very overwhelming, the concept of it and the reality of it, but all you have to do is just do what you can to help yourself and others. Just do what you can, and that is more than enough. That's when it comes to the pandemic. So these are just some of my examples on how to possibly address demotivators. Again, these are not sure solutions or the most appropriate solutions for you, but the point is, you have to have the desire and you have to know yourself so you can try to work things out. Uh, I now go to the ITP. Don't worry, hindi ito lecture. I will go through this very fast in such a way that will be understood. But I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, know about the Ignatian pedagogical paradigm. If not, it's simply a framework for teaching. It's for pedagogy. So it has these five components. Uh, Mas pang lesson plan siya. So, kunyari lesson plan ko. Bago ko i-plano yung lesson ko, kailangan alam ko yung konteksto ng mga students ko, ano yung alam nila, ano yung sitwasyon nila. Then I plan the experience for them. Ano yung gagawin ko para matuto sila. And then within the lesson and after the lesson, may mga reflection points. So I will let my students reflect, and I, as the lesson plan maker, will reflect on what happened. And then hopefully, after the lesson, may form of action na gagawin yung mga bata. It can be performance tasks. It can just be in the form of a personal change. And then evaluate it. Ano yung pwedeng i-improve, what worked, what didn't. And then repeat for another lesson. Now, let me apply that in today's topic. So, i-apply natin yung konsepto ng Ignatian pedagogical paradigm sa ating sarili, sa topic na ito. So, nabanggit ko kanina, you have to know yourself. You have to know your context and the context of your environment. Ito yung mga stressors nga, demotivators. Para maintindihan mo, para magawan mo ng paraan. So, know your context and then just go about the experience of teaching, waking up every morning, going about your daily life. And then, as you go through your experience, having that awareness of yourself, we go to reflection. Reflect. So, ano yung mga bagay na naka-apekto sa akin, nakapagpasaya sa akin, nakapangpahina sa akin, ano kaya yung pwede kong gawin, and then we move to action. So, okay, medyo hindi ako natuwa sa nangyari sa akin kaninang umaga. Ano kaya yung pwede kong gawin? Ganito. So, let me try it out. And then when you try certain steps, certain moves to try to address whatever issue, please know that failure is an option. Hindi ito test. Hindi ka gagradean. No one is grading you. So if it doesn't work out, try another way. If this solution that you thought of and enacted didn't work, it's okay. Try again. That's where you evaluate. Ay, parang hindi nag-work. Ito nag-work. And then repeat the process. Okay, so this is having a more proactive move in rediscovering love for teaching and staying motivated and driven. So, yan na yung end ng lecture ko about IPP. But just to stress the importance of context, of knowing yourself. So, balikan ko lang ulit, helplessness, external. You can't do much about it. Sometimes you can influence change externally, but more importantly, what you can do is internal, about what you want to happen. And remember, dahil you have that desire nga to rediscover love for teaching and being motivated and driven, meron ka ng parang advantage, may bonus ka na that will help you in your path of rediscovery and staying driven and motivated. Okay, I now go to my third point. It's a choice. Realize that love for teaching is a choice, being motivated is a choice, and staying driven is a choice. In the same manner that when we wake up every morning, it's a choice. Babangon ba ako ngayon o hindi? Ayoko. O di, huwag ka pumasok. Choice mo yan. Maliligo ba ako ngayon o hindi? Ayoko. Eh, di, choice mo yan. Di, as long as wala namang aamoy sa'yo sa paligid mo, di ba? To have your coffee is a choice. To make your coffee is a choice. To open your laptop, to show up for work, to teach. These are all choices. Yung love for teaching, being motivated, and staying driven, you don't just wake up one day na, oy, motivated na ako. Okay na ako. That never happens. It's a choice you have to make. I want to love teaching. I want to be motivated. I want to be driven. So, that the choice is yours. And gaya nga nasabi ko kanina, the fact that you're here, that the fact that you want to learn about it, it means you've already made that choice. So I just want to stress na it's a choice, and it's a proactive choice because you have to work on it. You can't just know na may problema akong pinagdadaanan and it stops there. So remember, know yourself, and then it's a proactive choice. And when we choose, I'm nearing the part where I give the tips, 6 tips lang naman. So when we choose to love teaching, and when we choose to be motivated, and we choose to stay driven, gaya nga ng sabi ng video, we find ways because we choose it. If we don't choose it, we will never find ways. But because you choose to love teaching, you choose to be motivated, and you choose to stay driven, you will find ways. You will find your answers one way or another. Baka mas matagal, baka mas mahirap, but you will find ways. Now, speaking of, I'm not promoting BDO, but if you have a BDO account, I really love BDO Pay. Anyway, moving forward, yung ways, yung finding ways is na how I will transition to some of the tips I would like to share with you. So I go back to my disclaimer, maaaring mag-work sa inyo, maaaring hindi, pero ang importante ay ginagawa niyo ng paraan. And these are some of the ways you can apply to address that phase or that state you are in right now. Learn the art of noticing. This is also a very Ignatian tenet about the art of noticing things around us. But don't just notice the bad naman. Also notice the good, and especially the little things. Yung mga pagbati ng teachers mo ay everyday, yung pagkamusta, pagpadala, yung efforts din naman ng school. Siguro minsan nakikita lang natin yung other side of it. I'm talking from an administrator's point of view na when I have to deliver not so good news to my teachers, syempre they will react in their own ways, and I have to understand that that's their reaction, and that's very valid. Uh, but what I try to remind the teachers is, please know that the school really wants what's best for us. So I hope you also notice that the things that the school is doing to try to make things better. It's not always a perfect institution. It's not always a perfect system. Gaya nga nung sabi kanina sa Mentimeter, the system is what causes them to be demotivated. It's never perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect system. But also please try to notice the good things and the little things. Maybe that will help uplift your not so positive state. The tip number 2 is add humor to your work life. Learn to laugh with your colleagues, at your colleagues, with yourself, at yourself. Kahit naisipin ng mga tao, ay baliw ba to? Kinakausap niya yung sarili niya, pinagtatawanan niya yung sarili niya. Okay lang. If that will cause you to uplift yourself, to laugh at yourself, to look at the lighter side of things, then great. Also learn to laugh at your mistakes. Kung nagkamali ka, wala na tayong magagawa doon. But, you learn from it and laugh about it. If it's a very difficult and grave mistake, then go through the process of reflecting on it. And then, after that, okay na. Pwede mo nang pagtawanan yung pagkakamaling ginawa mo. And it also helps when you have that humorous relationship. So this is for administrators also and for teachers na. If you have that very light and humorous relationship with your teachers, you can joke around. It helps. That's in my case na. I have a very not too serious relationship with my teachers. Nakakapagbiruan ako sa kanila sa chat. Pag may nahanap ako nakakatawang meme or gif, we share. Very famous nga sa group chat namin yung SKL. Share ko lang and then may mag-post ng joke or funny video. Have that light and humorous relationship with your colleagues and yourself. Tip number 3, reframe your way of thinking. Easier said than done, but gaya nga nasabi ko, if you have the desire, gagawa ka ng paraan. You can't always change external factors, but you can do something about the internal. A change of perspective, being more open-minded. Hindi yung open-minded na nagbebenta sa networking or yung life insurance, but that's perfectly okay. But being open-minded about why things are happening, and if things are not going the way you want them, try to keep an open mind, and maybe you will have a different take on things. Tip number 4, keep connected. Please don't be an island. There is strength in solidarity, especially ngayong pandemya. We really need to reach out more to each other. Reach out to your family, your friends, to God, pray. To yourself also, stay connected to yourself. And then if you're having a hard time, uh, I think we as teachers are naturally very generous of ourselves. And then kahit na yung teacher na hindi mo masyadong kasundo, if you ask them for help, I'm very sure they will help. I think it's innate in us as teachers to want to help when it's needed. So reach out. Kasi hindi naman, as I put in the presentation, not everyone is psychic. So baka may pinagdadaanan ka na pala, hindi alam ng administrator mo, so dead ma lang siya, biglang nag-resign ka na lang. Or kung administrator ka naman, pag may hint ka na medyo may hindi okay sa teacher mo, mag-reach out ka na kasi baka nahihiya sa yung teacher mo. So, maintain the lines of communication. Keep connected. You don't have to bear the burden alone. Tip number 5, there is life outside work. I cannot stress this enough na sometimes you're so attuned to work because we love our work. Yun na, di ba? To begin with, we love our work and then we're trying to rediscover it. But because we become so attuned to our work, we forget about other aspects of our life. So nurture those other aspects. Your life is not made up of your work alone. And that will cause you a lot of stress if you're too devoted. It's okay to be devoted to work, but devote them to other aspects of your life, your hobbies, your passions, reading, learning a new skill. Baka itong pandemic, di ba, umuso yung mga gardening, tsaka mga home cooking and home selling ng mga kung ano-anong products. Nurture other aspects of your life. Also, this pandemic has become a chance to reconnect with family, with people from the past. Ngayon nga, may batchmate akong taga-UP na 1995 pa. So, ganun na ako katanda. But we suddenly reconnected. And ngayon, we text each other every day na nangangamusta. And it parang nagiging therapy siya for me na makapag-chat sa kanya, tell her, oh, ito yung nangyari sa akin, kamusta ka na, okay ka lang ba dyan? So, I think doing these things will help recharge you. My last tip is to have an attitude of gratitude. I personally believe that gratitude is the cure to a tired mind and a tired heart. When we are very tired mentally and emotionally, when we are thankful of the things in our lives that we have, it puts things in a new light. We notice things more positively if we are more thankful to our Lord and to our colleagues and our family and our school and our friends and our colleagues. So yun ay end ng 6 tips ko. So this is actually the last part of my talk for this topic. And I will end with this quote. I am an avid fan of the author Ayanla Van Zandt. She's whom I call my miracle author. In very difficult stages in my life, I read many of her books. You will see the titles on the screen. One day my soul just opened up. Yesterday I cried, and in the meantime. And one of the quotes that struck me from her literature is this quote: "Remain open. There is something bigger than you know going on here." Baka may pinagdadaanan kayo ngayon, hindi nyo maintindihan bakit nangyayari, or you are in a very difficult and low state. Don't give up. Remain open. Baka may plano ang Diyos, baka may mga mangyayaring hindi pa natin alam kung ano yung mangyayari. There are things we don't know yet. Just remain open. Maaari may mas magagandang bagay pa or mas mabubuting bagay pa na mangyayari. In other words, don't lose hope. And with that, I end my talk. Thank you very much. I don't know if I went over time. Sorry if I did, but thank you very much, and thank you for listening.
Most welcome, Sir Pop. Siyempre, welcome natin yung ating ating co-administrator for a while.
Hello.
Yan. Okay. Siyempre, Sir Pao, no, hindi ka namin muna may interviewin. Okay, we will not ask questions muna, but we'd like to give comments. Nag-uusap na kami sa background, no? Actually sa chat, no? Hindi sa private chat natin, Sir Pao. Hindi mo makita ngayon, pero nag-usap kami ni Sir Dan. Ang sarap pakinggan nung talk. And again, marami sa mga nabanggit ni Sir Pao are things na malamang na-encounter natin somehow, pero ang sarap pa rin yung pakinggan at to be reminded about these things, no? And perhaps siguro ang pinakamagandang na mention ni Sir Pao, no, is that yung idea ng that we do not exist in isolation. So lahat ng mga nangyayari sa atin, lahat ng mga pinagdadaan natin are connected to somehow to a bigger things, as well as yung pinagdadaanan natin could also be something shared. Hindi natin siya kailangang payo lang. Kaya ang sarap pakinggan, Sir Pao, and thank you for the beautiful, beautiful reminder. So teachers, alam niyo na po kung bakit tinitingala ko ang taong 'to, pagdating sa ano 'no, sa maraming bagay 'no. Teacher Pao, Teacher Pao, meet, Sir Pao.
Hello po. Good
Hello,
afternoon.
Teacher Pao.
Buti na lang nakahabol talaga ako. But I was watching in the background niya via YouTube lang muna. But you know, when I was hearing when I was listening to your talk, it was like sobrang refreshing. It's not something grand, 'di ba? Hindi siya sobrang bago. You just had to put it into our consciousness. So thank you, Sir Pal, for that.
And put it beautifully. Kasi syempre yung mga payo na yun, mga tips, they come in bits and pieces but the way that Sir Pao na put it together, like it brings meaning. Sabi nga nung comments natin sa chat, no, is that superb, no? Thank you, Sir Pao. At meaty yung discussion. At again, nilapit, no? Hindi siya confusing. Yung lalo ko mapapaisip kung paano nga ba ako mamomotivate tsaka magiging driven? So mas binigyan linaw no, ni Sir Pao. Sir Pao, we'll park you for now at the backstage and we'll see you again later na during our panel discussion kung saan pag-uusapan natin ang mas mga controversial questions about rediscovering love for teaching later on. Maraming salamat, Sir Pao.
See you
I'll see you in
later.
a while. Yan, Teacher Pao. Syempre, hindi pa tayo tapos, no? Syempre,
Yes,
meron pa
first
tayo.
pa
At
lang yun.
again, yes, simula pa lang po, no? At again, no, katulad nung ni Sir Pao, no, itong next speaker natin is also one of the, many people, of course, no, na tinitingala ko talaga pagdating sa buhay. Okay? Napakahusay, napakagaling, napaka-committed na tao. And pagdating sa pag nag-uusapan ng Teacher Pao na yung being driven at being motivated, mahirap at medyo mahirap talunin ang tao na to pagdating sa personal motivation tsaka personal drive kasi siya yung tao na kapag meron siyang gustong gawin, ginagawa niya at nagagawa niya talaga. Kahit no matter how impossible it seems, no? At siguro, Sir Teacher Pao, ang isa sa pinaka-example na bibigay ko sa is that our next speaker is one of the ones that actually initiated at nagsusupport ng community pantry ng school namin. And I'm really glad to say at gusto ko siya i-congratulate kasi nasa day 129th na yata if I'm not mistaken. Kung tama ako, no? Itatama naman ako ng ating speaker later on kung mali ang aking count na. Pero I think it's day 129 supporting our school staff all throughout those many days, giving them food, and all other things, clothes, etc. At Teacher Pao, yung community pantry, may tendency matapos kagad because of the lack of supply. But this person persevered, okay? Stay motivated, stay driven all throughout to be able to support that community pantry. Okay? And I have the honor, and I'd like to do, of course, the introduction to this person, to our speaker for today. Okay? Our next speaker, Dan Aburhina, is currently a guidance counselor at Xavier School. He graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Psychology at the University of Santo Tomas with units in MA in Education, major in Guidance at UP Diliman. He also obtained his life coaching certification in 2020. He has served in various degrees as officer of the Faculty Organization or Association of Xavier School. Recently, he has been in charge of the community pantry of the school, which has supported staff members of the school for at least 129 days. Talking about motivation and drive, medyo mahirap talunin yan. So let's welcome to our stream, Sir Dan Abruhina.
Hello.
Hello. Sir Dan, nakamute ka pa, Sir Dan?
Hello, good afternoon,
Yan.
everyone. Thank you for having me here again. I'm Kaagapay and happy to be here. Medyo kinabahan ako, ang galing ni Swapi. So hopefully I'll be able to share and impart about the topic as well.
Maraming salamat. Sa Sir Sir Dan, I would not ask na lang overview, but I'd like to ask siguro siguro short answer para hindi mo maubos yung oras mo for your session is how do you do it? how do you keep motivated and driven in supporting that our community pantry? Or tama ba ako, Sir Dan? Paki-correct ako, 129 days, tama ba ako?
Yes.
Yes, 129 days. Because I know it's so hard to maintain such an undertaking. So, what's keeping you motivated and driven to do that?
Actually, when you do things for others, that's the best motivation. Because when you just do it for yourself, you could just easily give up. Okay? But when you know that others benefit from your projects, then you continue to move on. Especially when there are people supporting your cause, then it's really uplifting and good. So okay naman.
Sino na ang teary-eyed kagad dito, mga teachers? Meron na mga teary-eyed agad. Kakasimula pa lang, Sir Dan, may mga pa-teary-eyed effect na kagad tayo ngayon. Teachers, enjoy the session. Sir Dan, good luck on your session. We'll be in the chat again to engage with our teachers. We keep on sharing your insight, teachers. We love your insights.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me here. Let me just share my screen, and hopefully things will be okay. Yeah. Okay. So, rediscovering love in teaching. So, before anything else, I would like to introduce myself. I am Dana Bruhina. I'm not really a teacher. I'm a guidance counselor, and I've been in the profession for 21 years. So, do you see my screen already, Franco?
Yes, Sir Dan.
Okay. So, my screen is there. So, as a counselor, I do colleague counseling, and teachers go to me and share their personal experiences, not necessarily academic, but their experience as teachers per se. So a while ago, Sir Paolo discussed that there are a lot of demotivators that happens, and when you concentrate on the negative stuff, then that becomes a challenge. So the teaching profession is a very special profession because it requires passion. Unlike if you go into business, your motivation is more on earning, okay, and promotion. But the teaching profession is not just passion, but passion with vocation. It's helping other people in this chosen career. As mentioned nga before, there's no other careers without teachers. So talagang salute tayo sa mga teachers who chose this one. And Sir Paulo mentioned that we chose this career. We have chosen this career not to become rich, but because of our passion to help. Okay. So one important key, as mentioned, is passion. And passion is something that gives us joy. Passion is a kind of emotion, and emotions are not permanent. So sometimes we're too happy, next time we're sad. Okay? The same thing with passion. Sometimes we're too driven, sometimes it gets out of the way, or sometimes we're not driven at all. So passion fluctuates, but it is always there. So as mentioned din kanina, remember, why did you choose to become a teacher? So what made you decide? And passion is an important key because a passionate teacher is always remembered by students. So naging teacher tayo because there's this one teacher who inspired us to become a teacher. So hindi yun yung teacher na would be relaxed and just go and do the usual things. So we would see them, how they care about their job, how they care about the people they work with, and how they care about the students. So I'll be discussing 2 points. So the first one is igniting the passion for one's profession. The passion is there. You just need to make the flame hotter, okay? So kailangan i-ignite lang natin yan para mas ma-recognize natin. And the second one is how to stay there because every now and then we'll really lose track of yung why we are at this particular job. So the tips that I'm going to give are not all applicable because it depends on your context. So you may be an extrovert that will work well with people support, or it may not work for you if you're an introvert because you prefer uh, being at your own pace, at your own circle of friends. So just try to pick what would work for you, or if it may not work for you, learning that thing or two would be you could suggest it to other people you know, and this might work for them as well. So I've been in the counseling profession for 21 years. So a while ago, I heard there's someone from Lipa City. So greetings from people in Lipa. I'm from there. And when I moved to Manila and pursued my career in psychology, I really wanted to be a guidance counselor. I want that feeling of talking to people, helping them help themselves, etc. But going through the process, I learned that the profession is more than that. So I enjoyed my work. That's why I've been in my career for 21 years. But that doesn't mean that everything was well and good. So there had been demotivators, as mentioned, that came my way. And there was a time that I even almost quit on my 9th year. Okay? So I've had a lot of challenges, professionally, personally, but who doesn't have, right? Okay, whatever career you choose, there will be challenges that you will face. So what you need to know is how to deal with these challenges. Okay? So there are a lot of high points. Okay, appreciation from colleagues, administrators, and students. I'm the youngest in the family, and working with the kids really brings me joy. Parang I never had a sibling younger than me, so working with them is like being a big kuya, and I love that part of my work. But also, I had some negative experiences. I received letters from attorneys complaining about how we deal with students. Some disagreements with supervisors, but that's part of life. All right. And experiences, good and bad, we take it. As teachers, we know that these experiences would make us learn from it and become a better person. Okay, I have 10 tips for you in igniting the passion for one's profession. The first one is love what you do. So, one of the challenges of being in the education system is loving what you do, because I think teachers has the most work that they experience, okay, compared to other professions. You prepare, what you're gonna do the next morning, teach the whole day, and then check papers afterwards, reply to messages. It's like your whole day is dedicated to that. Okay. So the first thing to do is to love what you do. Okay. So you've decided to become a teacher, and make sure that you accept, okay, whatever you have chosen to, because some people who do not succeed in the education profession is to think that teaching is just a job. Okay? It's a way for them to earn, and it's like yung magtatrabaho lang para lang kumita, waiting for 4 p.m. to finish the job, and is not wholehearted, do not do things wholeheartedly. So take pride of what you do. Yeah. And do not stop in pursuing your education career. Okay. Second is strive to impact others. Ito yung minention ko kanina, no? So, yung trabaho natin is not just trying to work for a company, making them earn so that you would earn as well. So we have seen some people who are really passionate about their job, kaya they're able to succeed. Sabi nga nila, when you enjoy what you're doing, you'll never work the whole time of your life. So, but also, knowing that your job has a purpose, then the more that you will do your job. So what do I mean by that? For example, why do journalists risk their lives in going into bad weathers or wars just to make reports? The same thing like doctors and nurses, even though that they are high risk na magkaroon ng COVID, and yet they push to do these tasks. Simply because they know that when they do this, they'll be able to help others. And one of the most noble profession is being a teacher, because when you know that when you teach and you teach your all, you know that your students would learn a lot from you. So make sure that you know what happens when you do your job well. So you'll be able to inspire students as well. I remember when I was a student, I'm not really good in speaking. So my teacher encouraged me to join an extemporaneous speech, and I did not do that well. So, but my teacher talked to me and encouraged me, took time. Aside from talking about the curriculum, she took time to discuss other things and encourage me. And from then on, I was able to believe into myself. So minsan when a teacher believes in you, kahit hindi totoo, you're able to believe in yourself. I've proven that. When a student, okay, was not good in dancing and asked, okay, if he's good in dancing, I said that you have the potential to be a good dancer. And okay, one encouragement could lead to another. And after several practices, even if I myself did not really see the potential at that time, okay, the student believing in himself makes him work on that. And when you see students succeed, that makes that is an additional thing to be happy with your work, okay? To be more passionate with your job. Okay. Third is stay curious. So the common mistake of some educators is to believe that they're already good enough. So if you stay curious and you know that there are still things to learn, then do it. Never be complacent. Do not settle for mediocrity. So even at my age, I'm old already. I'm 42. I still pursue further studies. I enroll in courses that, like in Coursera, online courses to pursue my craft, because I know that learning never stops. And sometimes there are things that you would learn, a thing or two that you haven't seen in the past, even if you are an experienced teacher. So there are also times I observe how the new ones do their job, and I see some of their practices that are valued. So sometimes you see that their younger teachers have a greater connection at times with students because they're relatable. So you could learn also from new people. So do not assume that you know everything. Stay curious. Do regular research. Ask probing questions from your supervisors, and never cease learning. Okay, learning never stops. Tip number 4: try something new. So a while ago, Sir Paulo mentioned that the Mentimeter was a very hard thing to do before, but now it's a regular thing. And doing new approaches makes you discover your job on a different aspect. When we do things monotonously, we lose the drive. we lose the passion. It's like waking up, doing the same thing over and over again. I can't imagine myself working in a factory, even if I paid highly, but I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. Siguro yun yung isa sa kailangan ng mga teachers. So to grow in the teaching profession. When you're too comfortable in your job, then you will not grow as a person. So go out of your comfort zone, reevaluate your other strategies, try new things like Kahoot, quizzes, and it may not be easy at the start, but when you do this, you do not only grow, but your students become more engaged of what you do. Number 5 is try other things. So being a guidance counselor could be monotonous at times, that when students would be brought to me for certain incidents, it's like I already have a definite answer of what to do. But each case is different, and dapat we don't sometimes we listen just to respond, okay, but we don't listen attentively. But other than that, okay, is that being too comfortable with your job makes also your job unexciting. So I do other things in school that would deviate my thoughts once in a while from my work to break the monotony. So I've handled clubs. I was a debate club moderator, student council moderator as well. And I see students on a different aspect. So that's good. I also accept committee works. I facilitate recollection with Sir Paulo, and I accept also other responsibilities, not just on work, like what Sir Franco mentioned, volunteering for the community pantry. So when we do things that we see value and other people see value in it, then we get validated, and that makes us feel good with what you do. Okay. Next is mix with like-minded people. So the challenge here is that when you go with different types of people, most likely you'll able to absorb the energy that they give you. So if you go with people who are constantly complainers, okay, do not see anything positive, most likely you'll have that negative energy in you. People who likes to rumor monger or talk about other people would drain your energy as well and make you lose focus. But if you're with people who would bring the positivity in you or uplift you, right? You could have friends where you could discuss things about work, about faith, about relationships, and be with people who would have a positive impact. In Savior, we have the Kiko's Companion. So it's a group where we discuss more about our faith, because you don't talk about faith naman casually to people, no. But when you're in a group that is more open and more understanding, then it's good as well. So work life is not just concentrated with academic requirements, okay, or the things you have to do. You have to develop your whole person in the work, so that you'll grow in the job. Shake up your routine. So yun nga, monotony yung isa sa mga kalaban natin, no? That's why we're bored at work. So if you have a work area that you usually go to, try working on a different part. Okay? Work in your garden, or if you work in your room, try to work in the living room next time. So other things is do something that is novel. So something new. Hindi lang yung palaging the usual routine that you do in class. if you remember back in time that there will be teachers who will be having Manila papers and will just ask you to read what's on the Manila paper, or would write different kinds of verbs and then point a stick, ask you to read, and this and that. Okay. You remember those teachers, but you don't remember the impact that they make. Okay. And they don't look happy as well doing that. Okay. But it's convenient. But shaking up your routine means when you do something different, it gives that certain excitement with what you do. Number 8 is take a break. Sir Paolo mentioned this also, yung loving yourself with things. You love yourself. Okay? So your job is there, but your job is not your life. Okay? It's just part of your life, and you need to take a break once in a while. So sleep if you need to sleep, unplug. So most of us, we take a break by watching Netflix or playing games in the computer, but try to unplug. That means no gadgets, because this will make you more relaxed, okay? And it will be better for your eyes as well. Learn to recuperate. So, sabi nga ni Sir Paolo, do not be overindulged with your work. Na yun lang yung life mo. Or else you'll get burned out. So, if for me, what I do is I do physical activities as well to lift myself, which goes to number 9. So, exercise your mind and body. It's during the pandemic, it's really hard to teach just being seated and talking to a computer. Right now, I can't see anyone, and I'm just looking at the green dot of my laptop, pretending that you're all present and listening to me. So you have to exercise your mind and body once in a while to break that particular routine. So how do you exercise your mind? Try to read, okay, from books, not just ebooks, okay, to make your creative juices alive. You may draw, you may paint. Okay. These are other things. Or answer puzzles, do jigsaw puzzles, play Scrabble with friends. Or, of course, exercise the body. Yeah. So that you won't be too tired, okay, or you won't get sick. Me, I do hiking, running, walking, and other stuff. And lastly, remember your goal. Why did you decide to be a teacher? So when you go back to that goal, then it will reignite why you want to do these things. And of course, I think the number one goal of being a teacher is not just for yourself, and that is for others. And when you know you make a difference in the lives of others, then you'll do it more, because it's not just for you. So again, the 10 tips: love what you do, strive to impact others, stay curious, try something new, approaches with your job, try other things other than your job, mix with like-minded people, shake up your routine, take a break, exercise your mind and body, and remember your goal. Okay, that's for the first part. For the second part is staying motivated and driven. So you know na, you're passionate, all right? But how do you stay there? Minsan parang you don't want to wake up na. It's like you're pinipilit mo lang yung sarili mong bumangon kasi alam mong hindi matutuloy yung class pag walang teacher, no? And it happens that we need to show up even if we don't like it, even if we're not passionate on that day. Our work is not something that we work lang because we like, okay? We work, we signed up for this, so we have to show up regardless of our moods and emotions. Unless you're not healthy to show up, then it's okay. So here are the other tips. Okay. So one is the commitment pact, okay, also known as the Ulysses Pact. So the story of this is that, or the Ulysses Pact is based on Greek mythology, that Ulysses wanted to hear the songs of the mermaids, but if you listen to it, you'll go crazy. So what he did was he asked his men to tie himself in a pole, and that when they pass through that way, um, all the sailors would just put earplugs, and so that he will be able to hear it, but would not do anything crazy and die. The same thing with the commitment pact. The commitment pact is committing into something that you would do and sticking to it regardless. So, for example, me, I often go to the gym on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. And sometimes it's hard to take that commitment that, I will not go, it's raining naman. Or someone invited me on a Monday, okay? And I'll just go on another day. Usually when you break your commitment, it's easy not to follow it on the succeeding days. So make sure that you do what you have committed. So other examples of this is that people the 50 peso challenge, if you remember that, that whenever you have a 50 pesos, you will not spend it, put it in a coin bank. So it's not easy, but once you committed on it, the fruits of it are worth it. So in the context of teaching, me naman, the commitment pact is that I will not go home immediately if I'm not finished with my log for the day. So we have a logbook of what we did for the day, and sometimes it's easy to just dodge it and just do it the next day until those little things that you don't do would pile up, and it's hard to do that. So I told myself, finish my logbook before going home, and you can go home once you're done. So make yourself accountable to these particular tasks and stick to it. Okay. The commitment pact. Second is chunking or clustering. Sometimes we're not motivated when we see there's a lot of things to do. And example, your boss would require you to submit 20 reports due next Friday. It's easy to be overwhelmed and say to yourself, I can't do 20 reports, okay, in a week. But, okay, if you try to chunk it or cluster it, okay, into smaller tasks, then it becomes more achievable. So I'll do 4 reports on a Monday, 4 reports on a Tuesday, something like that. Okay. So in 5 days, I'll be able to do 20 reports. So I'll commit on doing that particular chunk so that it will not be too much for me on that day. So same thing, okay? When you are reading a book, sometimes it's hard to read a book in one sitting, or even if we're given a long deadline, we tend to do it the last minute. But if we try to divide doing it on certain days, it becomes easier and achievable. Okay. Third is artificial positive reinforcement. It was mentioned that being recognized or appreciated at work is something that motivates us. But it's not always available, especially now that you're just by yourself. So what I do is an artificial positive reinforcement. So what is that? I give myself a reward whenever I accomplish certain things. That is not too much, okay? So simple lang. So for example, I like flat tops, those chocolates. And I do that whenever I finish one report of a student. So that I'll be motivated to do another report and then get that particular chocolate. So you could do that on other things. So for example, if you're able to finish 2 lesson plans, you can put 20 pesos in your Lazada fund, or Shopee fund. So sometimes we have to just reward ourselves every now and then to validate that we are able to finish a particular task. It doesn't necessarily need to be big, but it's something that needs to be tangible para you see what you have achieved. Number 4 is visualization. Visualization is trying to capture what will happen if you finish the task to motivate you more. For example, on my example a while ago, finishing reports within a week. So I'll try to visualize what will happen if I finish the report earlier. So that means if I finish my report in 4 days instead of 5 days, I have 1 free day. And on that 1 free day, on a Friday, I'll be able to do other things aside from report making. Rather than just trying to drown yourself from going to that particular work. The same thing, for example, in losing weight. What will happen if you lose 10 pounds? You'll be able to bike, do sports activities. You'll be able to fit in smaller clothes rather than concentrating on the pounds you have to lose. So there's a reward at it, and looking at it will be a good one. Another kind of visualization is having this small board in your room and cut out pieces of the things that you want to see and happen. So sometimes they say that when you put that down, mas mangyayari kasi you're conscious, okay, of seeing it. So it's a constant reminder for you to do things in order to achieve it. It could be a picture of a country that you want to visit, okay, a restaurant you would like to try, or other things. Gentle self-talk. So, ang isa sa mga challenges ng teachers is feeling not good enough. Okay? And their greatest critic is themselves. Okay? So, hindi naman ako magiging supervisor kasi I'm not a good speaker. Or hindi ko naman kaya to kasi weakness ko talaga to. But instead of being too hard and harsh to yourself, okay, reward the things that you want to tell yourself, okay, in such a way that you could do something about it. So kung hindi ako kagaling na speaker, pwede mong sabihin na hindi pa ako ganon kagaling now, pero okay, if I try to do more speaking engagements, I will reach that. Okay. Or hindi man ganun pa kapulido yung report ko, but after reading it siguro 2 or 3 times, I will be able to identify kung saan ako nagkamali and improve it. And be positive also about yourself. Sabi nga ni Sir Paolo kanina, know yourself. So, ano naman yung good points mo? What are the things that you could offer? Kung hindi ka man ganun kagaling magsalita, baka ganun ka kagaling magsulat. Or hindi ka man ganun ka creative, pero ganun ka ka-dedicated. So each one of us have a positive side in him or her. Okay. Another one is the calendar strategy. So minsan pag may mga tasks, ang hirap niyang sundin. So if nakakita na kayo ng calendar na galing sa mga hardware, yung malalaking numbers. So if you're able to achieve what you have to do for that day, put a cross mark on that particular day. So if you're able to see that you're being consistent, you will not break that streak, no? So the same thing, so mag-ipon, di ba? Maglalagay ka ng 100 in a day. So pag nakita mong wala pang nakasulat doon, it will be a reminder for you, kailangan ko siyang gawin. Okay. Or when you see that your calendar is full of excess, it's a sense of achievement. Oh my, 2 weeks ako na walang late comings. Okay, I was able to come to school on time. I was able to submit my requirements on time. So that's good. And 7, social support. Okay. So even if we are teachers, we will always need help. So from your colleague, from your supervisor, from friends, and huwag tayong mahihiya na humingi ng help. Actually, minsan kahit hindi ko kailangan ng help, I ask help. Okay? because asking that person a particular help gives that person an opportunity to feel good to feel good of himself na, oh, ina-ask ng taong ito yung opinion ko. Oh, feeling ng tao na to, I'm good para hinga ng tulong. No? So, also when you ask help, they will not be shy to ask your help as well. That means they will be open with you na. So, having that circle of people whom you could ask help or whom you could volunteer for help, okay, as if they need help, okay, do that as well. And this was discussed by Sir Paolo a while ago, proper mindset. So, the same logic with the glass na half full tsaka half empty. So, whatever you think, okay, is true. If you think you're not good, then it's true. If you think you're good, that's true as well. So putting that particular mindset that you will be able to do things positively, influence others positively, that's a good thing. Number 9 is the distractions list. So kung kanina meron si Sir Paolo na demotivating list. Okay. Ito naman yung other things that are not necessarily demotivating, but puts your focus away from your task. So, minsan hindi natin nagagawa yung mga tasks natin, not because we're not motivated, but there are a lot of distractions on hand. Ang dami nating tabs na naka-open dun sa during a meeting, pero yun naman pala, may Facebook, may Instagram, okay, and other stuff. Or you have a work area na that invites you to be distracted. May food, may particular non-related stuff from work. So make a list of these things that distracts you. And once you're conscious about it, then doon madadivert you. Malalaman mo na you have to avoid these things and lessen those distractions. Okay. And last, okay, is the bumpy wagon plan. Okay. Minsan we plan, okay, of things that we're gonna do, and we have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, which is good, no? But also make also a plan what will happen if all of your plans do not work. So, what if your plans fail? What would you do? Okay. If plans A, B, and C would fail, what would you do? Okay. And identify what are the things that might cause your plan to fail. Because when you identify those things that might fail your plan, okay, then you can address it beforehand. Okay. So, the 10 things for that: the commitment pact, chunking, clustering, artificial positive reinforcement, visualization, gentle self-talk and positive regard, the calendar strategy, social support, proper mindset, the distractions list, and the bumpy wagon plan. So what if you're still not happy after all of this? Okay? So you try to look at your passion, you try to maintain those things for passion. Maybe be open also to understand that teaching is not for all. Okay? So if all things fail, then there are other things that you could do. So thank you very much, and I hope you learned a thing. So here are some of the sources that I use for this. Okay.
Siyempre nakamute pa pala ako, no. Maraming salamat, Sir Dan, and thank you for all those loaded tips, no. And we'll just wait for my co-administrators to also go in. Also welcoming humabol sa ating stream for today, Sir Angel as well, okay, coming from a meeting, right off a meeting. And of course, we'd also like to welcome back Sir Pao into our session as well for today, for our panel discussion. Yan, well, yan, okay, dali lang. Okay, Teacher Pao, Sir Angelo, insights or questions for our speakers?
Actually, right now, yung lahat ng sinabi nila, parang kailangan ko siguro mag-set aside ng time. I think that's That's how it's gonna work, no? Parang ngayon, syempre, nakikinig lang tayo. Some of you might have pen and paper ready. Gusto ko isulat lahat eh. Alam mo yun, gagawin ko na lahat. Pero syempre, di ba, ang dami na share ni Sir Paolo, maraming na share si Sir Dan. So, gusto ko na siya isa-isahin talaga. Mamaya, kaya sabi ko nga kay Sir Franco kanina, team reply ako for sure. Yung tipong magre-reflect mode on ako. Ganun siya. Kasi kailangan mo siya eh. No, I mean, you cannot just whimsically write anything. So, pero those that was shared by Sir Paolo and Sir Dan are chewable tips. As in, kayang-kaya mo siyang what do you call this? Machunk. Talagang magawa mo, no? Hindi siya isang bagsakan na talagang merong concrete steps on how to do it. So, thank you.
Tsaka very practical, no? Very practical yung mga tips nila. Okay? So teachers, let us now, have your questions in our chat right now. Okay, if you have questions or insights you'd like to share. And while we're waiting for your insights and questions, okay, in our chat, okay, we would like to throw some questions, no, to our two speakers, no, to our two great speakers. Ngayon, teachers, sana po naunawaan niyo na kung bakit tinitingala ko ang dalawang taong ito na sa buhay ko. So let's now have some questions, okay? While we're teachers, now you can also ask questions in the chat, okay? We'll be waiting for that. But while you're thinking of a question or an insight, here are some questions that we'd like to discuss with our speakers for today. And our first question is parang title ng K-drama yata. Malapit sa title ng K-drama. When is it okay to be not okay? Kasi totoong-totoo yung superhero complex ng mga teachers natin. If you would agree, no, Sir Pao, Sir Dan, no, yung idea na parang kailangan natin gawin lahat at kailangan maging matatag tayo lagi. Hindi pwedeng umiiyak, hindi pwedeng na sumusuko. Pero kailan pwedeng mangyari to? At justifiable ba? Or ano yung times na justifiable yung I'm not okay? Go ahead, teacher. Sir Pao?
I'd like to answer this question kasi uhugot lang ako sa personal experience. For everyone's knowledge, I'm still on quarantine. About 2 weeks ago, I got tested positive for COVID, but I'm okay. But I just wanted to share my experience last week. I was really sick, but I'm vaccinated, and then I was having a high fever, nag 39 degrees ako, nag-chills ako, flu symptoms. So that last week, I was really not okay. But for that entire week, I did not call sick, and I realized now that was a big mistake. I did not call sick. I still attended meetings. I still answered emails. I still everything I had to do for work, even though I wasn't okay. And I think that aggravated my situation. So it was mental, both mentally and emotionally and physically. I felt na no, I have to be okay. I have to do my work. I have to fulfill duties. Especially also because I had some co-teachers na nagkasakit din. So I had to cover, I had to sub, I had to do their work for them. And it's not their fault. But I took it upon myself. Gaya nga ng sabi ni Sir Franco, minsan nakaka-superhero complex tayo. I would say, to answer the question, I would say there's no such thing. There's no such thing as a time where it's not okay to be okay. If you're really not okay, accept it. I had wanted kanina na know yourself, di ba? I would like to add on to that, to honor yourself and to love yourself. Kung talagang may sakit ka, whether physically or you're not well, emotionally or mentally, acknowledge it, accept it. And going back to my tip a while ago, reach out for help when you need help. Uh, I even though I felt that at that time my department was crippled because I had two sick teachers and then I was also sick. I have to sub for them. I have to cover for them. There were other people more than who would have been more than willing to help. Our principal always tells us na because she used to be an English teacher also and became the English department chair and so on and so forth. She would always offer, "Oy, Swapi, if you need me to sub for any classes, let me know lang ha." And then also our assistant principal for academics, Mr. Exxon, would pag nagkakaroon ng times na nakaka-conflict sa schedule yung teachers and so on and so forth, they always offer, Swappy, if we need us to sub, we will sub for you. I should have taken advantage of that press help button. I need help. So yeah, so that's just the point I want to stress. If you're really not okay, acknowledge it, honor yourself, accept it, and then reach out for help. There is no other person who can evaluate your okay level than yourself. So if you truly and sincerely feel you're not okay, there is no such thing as it's a wrong time to not be okay. Yan lang. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir. And I hope, Sir Pao, no, na okay ka na. Go ahead, Sir Dan.
Okay na.
Get well soonest, Paolo. As mentioned, acknowledge when you're not okay. Because when you acknowledge it, that's the only time you will know how you will address it. So being not okay is something that you plan. Okay? So it just happened that you're not okay for that day. So acknowledge it, address, ask for help. And if you're not okay, that's not the end goal. That means you have to keep on moving so that you'll be okay. So do not recognize it, but don't stay there. Okay, try to do something to move so that you'll be okay.
Yes. Admins, anything to add before we move to our next discussion question? Sir Jello, Sir Teacher Pao? Okay, or you're okay na? Or hindi kayo okay? Okay lang namang hindi maging okay.
Yeah, ako, I'll follow
Okay.
up lang.
Go
I'll
ahead,
follow up lang,
Sir
yes.
Jello.
I agree with Sir Paulo and Sir Dan na if you're really not okay, it's okay na you acknowledge it na hindi ka talaga okay. That's why just to share a personal experience that I always have whenever, that's why I miss school at times, diba? Pag nasa school ako at hindi ako okay, one of the things that makes me okay, one thing that makes me motivated is the coffee of Sir Dan. So that's why I will always go down actually. I'll always go down to Sir Dan and manghingi ako ng coffee. Yes, yung coffee niya. May miss ko na ng coffee niya. Pero one thing that I realize is that the more that you're not okay, when you force yourself to be okay, the more that you become unproductive. That's why I have to stop. Really, I have to stop things that I've been doing. If I'm really not okay or medyo kailangan ng break, I really take that break just to have. And then, yun nga sabi nga ni Sir Dan at ni Sir Paolo, you have to move forward. Acknowledging it, but don't stay there, but you have to move forward. Yeah.
Teacher Pao, welcome ka dun sa kay Sir Dan. Kailangan mo lang pakita ng ID. Sasabihan mo
Oo nga.
kami para maibiling ka namin sa guard. Pwede ka mag-crossover from Ika papunta sa amin.
Gusto ko
Okay,
yung
yes. So, sarap-sarap ng coffee ni Sir Dan dyan. Okay, itong next question, okay, is controversial. Okay, and malamang natanong na rin sa sarili natin. Pero, let's bring it to the surface. Okay. When is it okay to say, I quit? I've lost all of my motivation. I've lost my drive. It's time to shift. It's time to find, sabi nga ni Sir Dan kanina, baka kailangan mo na maghanap ng ibang gagawin. So, kailan yan pwedeng sabihin? Sir Dan, would you like to go first?
Sige. Okay. When you've tried all the other means to be okay and still it's not for you, you don't just quit because it's a spur of the moment. So you quit because you have thought of it. Okay, you have tried things to amend or fix it, and still at the end of the day you feel it's not for you, and you have other options naman. Then we grow. Okay, teaching is not the only profession that could make a positive impact to others. No, so siguro that's for me. Yeah, explore.
Thank you, Sir Dan. Sir Pao?
Agree with a caveat. So I agree fully with Sir Dan. But tama si Sir Dan, no? You if as long as you've tried everything, kung talagang sukdulan na and there are really pertinent reasons for you to move on, then by all means move on. But I just want everyone to be careful about their reasons for wanting to quit and to move on to another institution probably. Ito yung the grass is always greener syndrome, diba? Na because you are here in this space, you always think it's better elsewhere. It's better in that school. I'm putting it in the context of teachers. It's better in that school. It's better in that in another country. Because if I may share also not my personal experience, but the experiences of very close friends who have moved on to other institutions and other country, even other countries, they all well, it's very specific to Xavier, but they always there's always that element of regret na um, the things that they used to complain about back in their previous workplace, it turned out to be worse in another institution. Or pag binaway if I could go back, I would go back. May mga ganung sentiments. But that's not always the case. May mga success stories din naman. Oh, I'm so happy now that I left my previous school. So I just want to stress that tama si Dan, but be very critical, be very careful of your reasons. If it's just the theory or the concept na it's better elsewhere, do your research, make sure your reasons are solid, make sure that the move will be worth it. And then hopefully if you do reach that point of moving on, then things will work out for you. Yun lang. Thank you.
Teacher Pao, would you like to add anything?
Yes, oo. Kasi I came from from a point where I had to leave, no? It was my third year of teaching. I finished third year of teaching, but I had to leave. So why did I had to leave? Because of priorities. So I think that's one thing that will tell you if you needed to quit, no? If you try to reevaluate your priorities and it ended up that um you really have to do this, then you got to move on, no, without really yun yung sinasabi ni Sir Pao na um you you don't go somewhere because it's better there, no, you go there because kasi I'm not sure, no, pero yun in terms of comparison mas maganda kasi doon kaysa dito. Siguro titingnan mo rin yung priorities mo saan ba. No, for example, I understand the reasons for teachers going abroad because they want to bring their families there. Because maybe meron doon meron ng nauna, meron ng kasama doon and so on. So meron ka na talagang reason, no. For me, I had to leave before. But that was because of my priority. Pero bumalik pa rin naman ako, no? Bumalik pa rin naman ako. And I didn't burn any bridge, no? It's just that I had to do it because of priorities. And remember that merong kasabihan don't bite the hands that fed you. Parang ganon. No, when you feel like yung ang nararamdaman mo ngayon, napapagod na ako sa school na to, hindi na ako okay and so on. If you've tried everything, if you've reached out to the administration, if you've evaluated everything, as in 360 lahat mula sa tao, sa sistema, sa lahat, and you really feel na my priority, may na-identify ka na certain priority mo, then you move on. No, but don't burn bridges talaga. Promise. Kasi sila din yung babalikan mo kahit anong mangyari. You have people. Umalis ka man sa institution na yon, you've met that person and, you will have nothing to remember sana except the good memories, no? So, yun lang.
Ang sarap pag-usapan ng mga ganitong bagay, no? At ito at syempre, we're down to our last question, no? Kasi we can't see questions from our meron ako nakita isang question mamaya, pero address natin mamaya, no? Siguro before we go to our last question, let's address that first. Kaya lang hindi ko na siya makuha, pero ano lang yung question niya. It's about bakit daw ito, okay? This is my question, bakit ang buhay may kontrabida? Ang ganda nito. Very yung question niya, pero marami tayong pwedeng sabihin tungkol sa bagay. Kasi totoo, no, madaming contribute sa buhay natin. Mga nagpapasakit ng ulo natin, mga taong ayaw mo minsan makita or ayaw mo makausap. Or minsan yung makita mo lang na demotivate ka na kagad or na nawala na kagad yung drive mo to do things. No? So, anyone, admins or our speakers, na bakit nga ba may kontrabida sa buhay natin?
I'll go first.
Go ahead, Sir Dan.
Sorry, Sir Dan, do you want to go first?
Sige,
quickly na lang. Sige,
Go,
quickly.
Sir Pao.
I'll answer
Yeah,
this
Sir Pao.
in two ways. I'll answer this in two ways. The first is yung usual na konsepto natin na kahit saan talaga may kontrabida, di ba? So, since that is the case, it's a reality. One way to look at it is it's a chance for you to um, learn more about yourself, to improve yourself, to challenge yourself, na bakit ka may triggers dito sa quote-unquote kontrabida na ito. So if you are a believer in there's no such thing as coincidences, maybe that person from a philosophical point of view was brought to your life to allow you to learn something about yourself. That's one. The second is um, um, di ba nga yung last quote ko sa slide ko na remain open, there's something bigger than you know that might be happening here. Don't close your doors. Yung nilalabel mo na kontrabida might end up being the person who helps you when you need it the most. Yung nilalabel mo na kontrabida might be the person na hindi mo kasi ganun kakilala, pero later on might eventually become your closest friend. And I speak for experience na I've encountered teachers na syempre alam ni Sir Franco and ni Sir Dan and ni Sir Jello yung context ko na sakit talaga sa ulo. But I never gave up on this on hypothetical na lang. I never gave up on if you do encounter such a situation, don't give up on that teacher. And because you never know. And yung what happened to us eventually ando na kami sa level na nagpapadalahan na kami ng pagkain sa isa't isa during this pandemic. And quote-unquote, kaaway ko talaga siya in the sense na yun nga, parang, bakit parating mo akong binibigyan ng sakit ng ulo? But yun nga, as things evolved, as things progressed, now I consider this person to be quite close to me. So don't close your doors to the person you are labeling as kontrabida. That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Parang
Ako naman,
curious tayo dun, no?
I'll share a story naman, no?
Go ahead,
So,
Sir Dan.
may isang rich guy, nag-aral sa big school, tapos was able to get his dream job, marry the perfect person, live the life happily ever after. Ang pangit ng kwento, no? Walang conflict. Buhay lang siya. Okay. So yung kontrabida, it gives character development sa bida, no? So minsan hindi talaga natin makokontrol yung ibang tao, no? So meron talagang negative kontrabida. Talagang they will see negative things about you, okay? And minsan yung mga ganong tao will really put you on your toes to be your best, to do your best, okay? To prove them na you're worth it, etc. But meron din namang mga kontrabida who would really point out what's wrong with you. And that is what makes you grow as a person. Kasi hindi naman tayo perfect. Meron at meron tayong flaws. So minsan, when we listen to that and we know it's constructive, we know that it would help us. So yung kontrabidang yun, naging helpful pa sa atin, even if that person doesn't like us. So
Correct.
let's look at these people in a different light. And sabi nga ni Sir Swapi, minsan yung mga taong yan, okay, out of concern pa lang, but they don't just know how to express it properly. Nang nagiging dating is fault finding. So be open with these people. Yan. Kontrabidas are good at a certain extent.
Bigla ko na-imagine yung, for example, teachers na yung probinsyano kung nanonood kayo. Imagine yung walang kontrabida sa probinsyano. Ang hirap panoodin ng probinsyano. Ang boring ng buhay na yan. Anyway, yes. Teacher Pao, Teacher Sir Angelo, any additions?
Yeah, yan, mga kontrabida. Actually, kung wala kang kung wala kang kontrabida, walang bida, alam mo 'yon, parang because that pushes you, no, to identify pa kung ano pa yung kaya mong magawa. No, these kontrabida people that you consider, these are the people who brings out, who unleashes your potential. 'Di ba? Kung hindi ka tatapikin yan, hindi ka iinisin, hindi ka, 'di ba, kung hindi ka niya matitrigger, pwedeng hindi mo pala na-discover na, kaya ko pala to. Yung sinasabi ni Sir Dan na character development, no? Pwedeng dati iniisip mo power tripper lang siya, nakakainis, power tripper. pero yun pala china-challenge ka lang niya kasi nakikita niya na kaya mong maging leader. Parang ganun mo lang din siya titignan na as you grow, no, dito mo madedevelop yung wisdom behind, bakit niya ba ginagawa sa akin to? Nakakainis na minsan na parang bakit pa ulit-ulit, ganon. Pero nakikita niya kasi na, hindi, kasi kaya mo kaya mong mag-grow, kaya babatuhan kita na, yan yung mga sugo ni God para ma-challenge tayo kung ano pa yung kaya nating gawin. Kung hindi ang boring ng life natin. 'Di ba? Feeling ko ganun yun.
Totoo yan, Teacher Pao. No? Sir Angelo, any additions?
Yun. Ako, agree rin ako nung kay Sir Dan at kay Sir Paolo. I want to look at it in two ways. One is, sabi nila kapag yung taong kinainisan mo or something, it also reflects who you are in a way. Merong mga bagay na maaring yun ng mga ayaw mo sa kanya, naiinis ka sa kanya, or kontrabida siya para sa'yo. Kasi baka mamaya meron ding ganun kang characteristic na maaring yun nga, to be more reflective on yourself. And at the same time, yun nga, it pushes you Sabi nga, kung walang kontrabida, hindi ka maging bida sa buhay mo. Wala, parang, yun nga, ngayon na-realize ko, kasi oftentimes, I always think na, bakit pag sa palabas, bakit walang story na walang conflict? Parang pag gano'n, parang baka nga walang manunood ng story. Kasi, okay, tapos na, very good, parang gano'n. Pero, ang ganda ng pagkaka-phrase na it's a character development. You really grow as a person. And sometimes, those people are actually, if you look at them as someone or people that really cares for you, then what they're doing may seem to be a kontrabida act for you, pero balay nyo nga, sila ay mga lang talaga, nagmamahal pa sa inyo ng sobra, parang gano'n. Minsan baka kailangan natin tignan yun mas concerned sila sa inyo. So nakakainis minsan nakakainis talaga sa buhay, pero kasama talaga sa buhay yun parang in all the not only in school, I think in life parating may mga ganong tao, and we have to just look at it in that particular perspective. For me, yun ang gusto ko.
Yes, no. At alam ni Teacher Pao yan kasi yung sa story, 'di ba? Yung elements of story. Okay, pasok na pasok ang conflict sa elements of story. And again, no, yung idea nga ng parang in a way it helps you, no, yung you shine the brightest in the darkest times. Okay? At yung mga kontrabida minsan yan mas nagpapa-shine pa sa'yo, no, as a person. Okay, we're down to our last question na, no? And I think perhaps this is one of the most controversial questions we're going to deal with today in this session. But it's something that we also have to really talk about. Okay? Kasi concern talaga nating lahat to. At hindi natin to basta-basta pwedeng like i-deny or sabihin na natin that it's all about passion, it's all about mission, no? But it will always come into play. Okay, so Sir Dan, Sir Paolo, and to our administrators, your thoughts, ideas on this question. How important is salary money to stay motivated and driven? Sir Dan, would you like to go first now for this one?
It's important, no? Okay. Kasi parang the salary you get is parang your value at your work, no? And when you feel that you don't get enough, parang you're not appreciated enough for that thing. But money is not everything, no? So may mga tao na who go from sa mga big companies, they still leave even if they have a 6-digit salary kasi it's not what makes them happy. So it's a factor, but it's not the deciding factor all the time. Pero to be honest, okay, kasi ako single ako, so I don't have a family. It's just me. So kumbaga, pag salary and money, I just decide for myself. Pero kung family man ka siguro, it's a different challenge, no? Kasi you don't just think for yourself, but you think for the welfare of your family. Baka mamaya, it's not enough, it's fulfilling, you're happy with it, but at the end of the day, but if you know that you can provide, it's not enough and you can provide for the family, then it's either we find a better paying job or we explore other means to augment the salary that we have.
Sir Pao?
What Dan said. yun lang yung sagot ko. Hindi. Yes, what Dan said, I agree. But siguro another concept to also consider is the concept of everything in life has a trade-off. So maybe in your current situation, you don't have the best salary, but you have great colleagues. You have a very supportive administration. You have good benefits, maybe not monetary. So if you are seeking higher compensation, uh, just know that, kunwari, you move to another country or you move to a corporate setting or an international school that pays a lot more. Just know that that additional compensation being added to you will also mean that you have to work for that additional compensation. So it might mean more work, it might mean more stress because you're being paid. Sabi nga ni Dan, 'di ba? A salary can be a reflection of your value. So if you're being paid more, then the company or the school or the institution will expect more of you. Uh, if you're okay with that and your priorities really align with the need for more compensation because maybe you have your own dreams and goals for your life or you have a family, then by all means go for it. Uh, so yun lang yung siguro kong idagdag sa sinabi ni Dan na um, if you are seeking more compensation because you're unhappy where you are, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that on its own. But also know the reality of things that more pay means more work and expectations. And if you're okay with that, then go ahead.
Sir Franco. Yes, ako meron akong gustong i-add going back to my experience before. Kasi tinanong mo tong how important is salary or money to stay motivated. When I transferred job for that school year, no. From teacher I became an admin assistant. The take home pay was half of what I was normally earning. So hindi ko alam kung saan ko kukunin, 'di ba? But I did not quit, no, because I was thinking of my priority, and my priority at that time is to have a job. And that's already middle of the school year, hiring is done. So it's very difficult for me to find a job, especially that the profession that I graduated naman talaga is education, no? So tapos na nag-hire na yung mga schools, wala na. So I was able to survive naman, no, that time, no, because that was my priority, to have a job. But when another job opened up, no, that can, kasi syempre you'd have your needs, sabi nga ni Sir Dan, Sir Pau, iba kapag ka single, iba kapag ka family, may meron kang family na sinusupport and so on. So dun mo rin titingnan, dun mo rin i-weigh if it would be better for you to move to another because you have that priority, no, of earning for your family also. So yun, I think yung salary per se, importante siya just as a factor, no. Factorin nyo lang dun sa priorities ninyo. Tignan nyo lang din kung dun ba siya, nasa priority nyo ba siya, kasi nga may binubuhay kayong pamilya and so on, or kung kaya naman siyang mag-suffice para sa kung pang araw-araw niyo, okay naman kayo, and then I think it would not be an issue.
Bigla nag-out.
Nag-out. Wala. Yeah.
Bigla nawala si Teacher Pao. Baka maghanap ng greener pasture. Just kidding.
Agad.
Sir Jello, go ahead.
Ayan. Ako naman, it is important as siguro as a family man, medyo isa sa mga factor talaga yan tinitignan ko. Kumbaga, I always have to consider that, especially that kids are growing up. Medyo yung gastos, it changes, pero I always believe that it's not the end all. Hindi lang siya nung pinaka-importante. Because I experienced also having parang a good paying job naman as a teacher. Swerte naman ako because I've been in institution where very generous. Pero if you are not also motivated, and if you are not feeling okay in that particular community in different reasons, no matter how much you earn, madadala rin sa family. Kumbaga, ako kasi, yun, parang I have to balance things out. Ako mas ang nakikita kong possibility is uh, look at the environment that you are. If you're happy with it and okay naman ang conversation, stay. If you feel that there is a need for you to improve more or to have more kasi mas maraming needs, ako mas gusto ko nung sabi ni Sir Dan na maybe look for another way of because sometimes the place that you are the yun yung yun yung magmo-motivate sa yun yung sa to keep going. The money, it will come and go, but at the end of the day, it is really how you embrace everything, and if you're not happy with where you are, magkakaroon talaga ng problema yung sarili mo. So ako, it is important of course, but it's not the only sole motivation because you can have all the money in the world that's not motivated at all.
Ako pera lang talaga yung nagpapatakbo sa buhay. Hindi. Hindi siyempre mahalaga naman talaga. Physiologically may pangangailangan tayo, kailangan natin kumain, kailangan may bahay tayo, lalo na sa mga kahit po mga single at hindi natin ina-isolate na kasi for example sa si Sir Dan, single yan. At sabi niya wala siyang binubuhay pamilya, pero yung pong pamilya niya, for example, yung nanay niya, yung mga brothers niya, sinusuportahan din niya, yung mga pamangkin niya. Same goes with Sir Pao or teacher Pao as well, no? So actually lahat yan kailangan talaga natin. Kailangan natin ng pera talaga. Siguro lang ang mahalaga nating tandaan is that hindi siya pwedeng ilagay sa sentro at hindi siya pwedeng ilagay lagi sa unahan. So it can't be the reason why you're pursuing things. It can't be the reason why you are doing things continuously. Say for example, yung ginagawa natin ngayon sa Kaagapay Teacher Support, we started with nothing. We don't have like salary, we have nothing to start with, no? But it was the love for teachers that actually brought us here. And lahat yan, no? Kahit si Sir Pao, si Sir Dan, kay Sir Jello, Teacher Pao, at kayo rin po lahat mga teachers, no? I know that there should be something bigger than money. Okay, so money is right there, one of the portions, hindi natin tatanggalin yan, at i-demand natin lagi yan sa gobyerno. No? Hindi tayo pwedeng maliitin ng gobyerno every time na, passionate naman pala kayo sa trabaho nyo, ito na lang sweldo nyo. Hindi pwedeng ganon. Okay? We will always demand for it, but it should never be just what keeps us into teaching. And kailangan you have to be realistic about it. So walang mali kung you're pursuing money. For example, kung talagang yan na magiging dahilan bakit mag-move out kayo from one school to another or one place to another, you're in a better position to decide for yourselves. Alam niyo yung konteksto niyo. Sabi nga teacher ni Sir Pao kanina, alamin niyo yung konteksto niyo kasi napakahalaga niyan. It will matter a lot in deciding how you stay motivated and driven all throughout. Yan, okay. So maraming salamat, no. And we know that's still a very controversial matter, no. And we only shared what we know and what we have experienced, our thoughts and ideas, and we hope that you appreciate those sharing. Okay, so we're now down to our last part, and of course we'd like to share our appreciation to our two speakers for today. To Sir Dan and Sir Paolo, and we'd like to present our certificate of appreciation for our two speakers for today. Teacher Pao, would you like to read the citation for our two speakers?
Sure. All right. So thank you so much for gracing us this afternoon. We couldn't have thanked you enough for the time that you have spent. And so we present the certificate of appreciation to Sir Paulo Swapenko for sharing his knowledge and expertise in the recently concluded webinar entitled Rediscovering Love for Teaching, Practical Tips in Staying Motivated and Driven, awarded on September 18, 2021. To be signed by the administrators, Sir Joseph Angelo M. Santos, myself, Sir Angelo B. Malyari, and Sir Franco Nicolo Adun. The same certificate is actually presented also to Sir Dan Abrohina. Thank you so much, sirs and chers. Thank you so much.
Thank
Of
For
course,
sure.
you.
we'd like to ask no like a message of encouragement from our two speakers before we let you go. Maybe we could start with Sir Dan for his message no, to our teachers.
Always remember why you started this profession. It's not just about yourself. What you do would always influence other people. So staying inspired, motivated, and passionate would surely bring your students to a better place in this society. So thank you very much.
Go ahead, Sir
My
Pao.
my quick message is just really to remember that you are not alone, hindi kayo nag-iisa. And I know that Kaagapay, that's what Kaagapay stands for, 'di ba? Na nandito sila, nandito kami para tumulong sa inyo. So kung ano man yung pinagdadaanan nyo, whatever you are going through, there's always hope, and that you don't have to carry the burden alone. Reach out if you need help, and also offer help if and when you can. So magsama-sama tayo magtulungan. It's the only way we will survive this pandemic, and even post-pandemic. Let's continue that attitude of hope and positivity and solidarity. That's it. Thank you.
Maraming salamat, no? And we'll now bid goodbye to our two speakers, to our two great speakers for today, Sir Paolo and Sir Dan. Maraming salamat, Sir Paolo. Stay safe and please get talagang recharge ka po ng todo-todo. And Sir Dan, again, congratulations and thank you sa community pantry ng Xavier School. Kayo have been really a force, no, and a foundation of that initiative. Maraming salamat po. Bye, Sir Dan, Sir Pao.
Everyone, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Sir
galing.
Pao.
Sabi ko
Alam mo,
nga, play ako ulit-ulit kasi hindi ko kaya yun ang mabilisan.
Pero alam mo, sa totoo lang, it's really the discussion. Kasi sa
Yes.
totoo lang, malabang one way or another, narinig na nila yan. No? Kanina, may nakita ko sa comment section, ginagawa ko na yan. Oo nga, I agree with that, no? Mga ganong klase ng comments. Pero it's really about that idea of like, putting it together, tapos papag-usapan. Kasi minsan, hindi na napapag-usapan to. Minsan, parang nagiging ano lang tayo na like in a robotic manner na tuloy-tuloy na lang dahil pandemic, dahil maraming kailangang gawin. Wala na. Parang we have to go through this nang wala ng mga nang hindi na nire-revisit ulit yung bakit nga ba in the first place you're doing things that you're doing.
Yes, correct. Agree.
At yan, by the way, no, Teacher Pao, Sir Jello, no, this is our evaluation link. Kaya paki-check naman, teachers, kung nag-work ang ating form. Okay? Kung hindi po,
Yes, working.
working. Yan. Maraming salamat. Okay? So, you can go to our evaluation link at https://tinyurl.com, recharge 04, or scan our QR code. No? And that will also be the basis of our certificates. Please make sure that you input the correct name and the correct email address for us to be able to send your certificates after this session. Any other
So, kasi
motivation?
ako for sure talaga, I will be doing the team replay, no? Kasi for being in the institution for, although nakat ako, no, pero all in all, 14 years na ako where I'm working right now. And parati mo yun i-check. Okay ka pa ba? Why are you staying? Marami nagtatanong, umalis ka, ba't ka bumalik? Diba? For me kasi, it's really the relationships. No, I was talking about priorities, the whole Q&A natin. It's all about priorities. And for me, in a job, my priority are the relationships. The relationship to myself and the relationship with other people. No, that's what makes me driven No, pag okay ako, tapos okay yung relationships ko sa paligid ko, okay ako. So that's my priority. So yung iba, kung okay sila plus yung family nila, nasusuportahan naman nila, that's what makes them driven. And it's not, sabi mo nga, it's not bad to think about na your priority is feeding your family and earning that much. So
That's nothing wrong.
there's nothing wrong with that. It's really your priority. Ako kasi so far right now, okay ako, definitely okay ako. Very lucky in our institutions that they're really very generous, no. So but more than that, more than the monetary value, it's the relationships that you've built with the people, no. So yon, that's for me. If I'm not okay and I'm not okay working with the people, baka hindi ako magsistay sa diba, who wants to stay in an environment na napaka-toxic, diba?
Correct.
So
Totoo,
yeah, so that, for me that's what drives.
It's really about that, finding that sweet spot of getting what you need and still being able to do what you love. Okay. Isa yun sa mga parang na-share ko yan last time, yung concept ng, do you remember correctly, ikigai. There's really that point, no, kung saan nagagawa mo yung gusto mong gawin, nagagawa mo yung alam mong nakakatulong sa ibang tao, nagagawa mo yung bagay na alam mong nasusweldohan ka o nabibigyan ka ng proper compensation, okay? At nagagawa mo yung alam mong competent ka sa bagay na yun. Alam mo, Teacher Pao tsaka si Jello, na ma-share ko lang, I'm quite happy that I'm actually at that point right now na nakakatulong tayo, no? Or tayong nakakatulong tayo through Kaagapay na i-share natin yung competence natin. Kasi alam ko kahit paano may competence ako in terms of like example paggamit ng mga tools or kahit konti lang, no. Alam na rin nagagawa natin yung gusto natin at the same time, no, kahit paano nabibigyan pa rin tayo syempre ng compensation to what we do sa or sa mga work natin kasi kahit ngayon employed pa rin tayo, no, sa sarili natin mga institutions. Okay, so yun. And let's just keep on striving to get to that point na hopefully na ideal. Okay. Sir Jello, any other additions?
Yeah. Ako naman, isa sa mga na, kumbaga, one takeaway that I will have in this particular webinar that we have is yung time to pause. Kasi sabi mga Sir Franco, di ba? At times, we are so, parang, the term that I'm thinking at this very moment is autopilot. Parang ito ginagawa ko na 'to eh. Madalas ko nang ginagawa. Parati ko nang ginagawa. Alam ko na kung paano gagawin and everything. And one of the things parating tumataktak sa akin to na binanggit ni Sir Jambi. Hindi naman sa sinasabi natin na nung pandemic is pero there's something that helps us in that. Kasi feeling ko lang, this is just an honest feeling. If the pandemic did that happen, we might not be able to have that really time to just pause. Kasi parang tuloy-tuloy lang nung ginagawa natin. And at times, this is also what I see in myself na maganda nung naging yung just to share. On my 10th year, dun ko naramdaman, sa Saver, dun ko naramdaman nung emptiness in doing what you're doing because you've been doing it for quite some time. You're trying to improve yourself. Pero, parang, okay, I continue doing that. Pero, there was that particular, parang, SGA that we have that makes me ignite. Parang, we term it as twin eh. Late na kasi ako nag-twin. Parang nasa 10th year na ako. Dapat sa mga 4th year yun. Pero 10th year na ako nag-twin. Doon ko parang na-reignite yung aking ng passion for teaching. And one of my takeaways there is really to just stop and sometimes letting go of things and letting God to do the things. And yun ang dami nung mga binigay na practical tips nila Sir Dan at ni Sir Pao. It makes me reflect and I agree that we have heard this one already. Narinig na natin 'to. Parang parata natin narinig every now and then. Pero sometimes it is in listening again, reflecting on that we learn more, that we gather more. And hopefully, yan nga, makatulong talaga sa atin para ma-rediscover ng love for learning. Kasi kung wala nung love doon, wala eh. It will die. Despite whatever you have, if you don't have that love for teaching, for love for your students, even if you might feel at times na you're not appreciated or feeling mo incompetent kasi parang walang natututunan. Pero if you have that love for them, it motivates you, it drives you. And yung mga practical tips, napakaganda kasi ito yung mga pwede natin gawin. So, hindi sila lang abstract na bagay, but these are practical tips that we can really do. And hopefully, yun nga, nakatulong sa ating mga teachers. And even to us, nakatulong sa atin na mag-reflect tayo at hopefully, ma-apply natin ito sa ating buhay.
Yes, no, maraming salamat Sir Jello for that, no. And again, teachers, thank you so much for joining us today. We'd like to invite you again on our Thursday event. That will be on level up PowerPoint presentation. We'll be having a class point discussion as well as creating interactive PowerPoint presentation on Thursday. And of course, on Saturday, we'll be talking about bichronous teaching and learning. Blending asynchronous and synchronous teaching learning process. And we'll cap off our September series with a one-note complete walkthrough on September 30. Okay, so teachers, we'll see you on those dates. Okay, again, magpahinga po tayo. Okay, congratulations sa ating mga teachers for the first week of pandemic school year, second pandemic school year. Okay, maraming salamat teachers. Okay, paalam.